In this section, I've got some really good news and some bad news. So the good news is that we get to put together our configuration for the Redis deployment that's going to manage a single Redis pod. The bad news is that that means we have to write out 2 more configuration files, very similar to the ones we've already put together. So I know writing out all these configuration files is getting very tedious, but we're almost at the end here. We just have to do the Redis deployment, its cluster IP service, and then the same thing for Postgres and its service as well. And then after that, we're done with these very repetitive config files, and we get to look at some more interesting config files that are going to do some more interesting things inside of our cluster. So let's get to it. We're going to create our deployment config file for Redis and its associated cluster IP service. All right, inside of my code editor, I'll find my K8s directory, and inside there, I'll make a new file called Redis deployment.yaml. So we're going to start off first with the deployment. Now the deployment that we're going to put together is going to look essentially identical to the other ones that we've already written so far. So let's get through it as quickly as we can, but do make sure that you type out everything correctly because any little typo is going to eventually result in some error message down the line. All right, so I'll do an API version of apps v1. I'll give this object a type of deployment. I'll set up a metadata that's going to provide a name of Redis deployment, and then we'll start putting together some configuration that's going to exactly configure how the deployment is created and how it behaves. So for my spec, I'm going to give a replicas of 1. We only want to have 1 single copy of Redis at any given time. Now, Redis is very interesting in that we can set it up in a sort of cluster mode where there will be multiple copies of Redis that kind of communicate with each other and enhance the overall stability and throughput of our application. But this is, of course, much more about Kubernetes than it is about Redis. So we're not going to worry about setting up Redis in any sort of like cluster mode or anything like that. So we're just going to have 1 standalone copy of Redis. All right, we'll also give it a selector. It's going to look for any set of pods out there that has a label of component Redis. I'll then unindent back out to be on the same indentation level as selector, and we'll provide our pod template.